We are getting like really dangerously close to the Sphere card coming together. When does that exactly take place?
When is it? Well, I know the Independence Day is in September. I can't remember what day that they're gonna hold the card. It might be. It's in the teens somewhere or another,
So
somewhere
it's
around
not
there.
that far away. So they need
It's
to get
really
cracking
not.
on this shit sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And you know, like the lack of news on this one, because I don't think we've got anything officially booked yet. It's considering how much Dana's hyped this up, we could say it's a little bit concerning. We don't have
It
anything nailed
is.
down. Yeah, he's hyping the absolute shit out of this one, and we've heard nothing yet.
This is going to be the most badass live sporting event you will ever see.
We know what can go wrong.
I may not have a brain, gentlemen, but I have an idea.
I can't think of any examples where that's been the case. So yeah, I guess this is just a simple question. Like, if you were in charge of building the that card, what would you throw on there, given what you know right now?
Man, this one was tough because, I mean, just with any matchmaking, there's so many variables that kind of go into it, and then also with this being a Mexican Independence Day themed type of thing, that's what makes it kind of interesting to put a card together. But luckily, there's so many amazing Mexican fighters in the UFC. It does kind of make it a little bit easier. So I came up with 6 fights. So I'm going from the last fight of the last fight of the prelims, and then all the way to the championship fight, or the main event. So the last fight of the prelims, I got Mario Bautista against Rob Font. That's what I'll have. I think that would be a dope fight. First fight on the main card, I got Raul Rosas Jr., Chiwiwis, against Aliman Zahabi. This has nothing to do with Aliman Zahabi at all whatsoever. This is all about Raul Rosas Jr. For the number 4, or the next fight, I got Yair Rodriguez against Lerone Murphy. Like, I would love to see that fight. That would be such a dope fight. Then after that, a fight that I feel like we kind of need to see at this point, and I don't even care what weight class is in, is Diego Lopez against Brian Ortega. Rebook it. I want to see that fight now. Reward Diego Lopez for doing going through what he had to go through. And then allowing Brian Ortega to kind of clear his name on what he went through. Obviously, there's some stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about that caused that sickness, and people are, calling him, a little bitch for bitching out. But I don't think that that's really what happened. I think it was more to it, but this would be an opportunity to kind of clear that up. For the co-main event, Alexa Grasso against Valentina Shevchenko. Go ahead and get that out of the way. I think Alexa Grasso kind of deserves to be on this card. And if it's not Valentina, in a sense, it kind of doesn't matter, but I think Valentina deserves to at least get that shot one more time to get that belt back. And then for the main event, I got Sean O'Malley against Merab Dvalishvili. I think you need a big name on this card, and Sean O'Malley is a big name. I thought about Ilya Topuria and Max Holloway, but I'm hearing that people are saying that that's going to be a Utah on the Utah card, so that's the only reason I kind of omitted that one. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but that's the only reason I picked the Sean O'Malley one over this one. And Sean has kind of been out there talking about the UFC 306 card, so I think, not to mention he has a lot of fans that are from Arizona, which that's basically another extension of Mexico. So he got a lot of Mexican fans. I think that would be pretty big for him. So I think that would be a fire card.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought we were going to have like a lot of similarities between who we picked, and I've got to say we only have one. So
that's
good.
Good.
Set that off from the gate. It's good, yeah. Like my initial reaction to this was maybe to just, like go for a wild one and just come up with some matchups that I'd love to see, like regardless of timing. But I've decided to kind of try and steep it in common sense, or else what's the point? Off the gate, I fully agree with you on the Sean O'Malley and Merab fight. I think they should just confirm it, get it over the line. If nothing else, I'm kind of sick of the clownish back and forth between the two of them on Twitter.
Hey, Merab, what are you doing? Bro, I find that this guy in Arizona, he was smoking too much. I'm gonna take you to my garage now, and I'm gonna train him. I wanna be the very best, like no one
ever was. I think that's reached its peak. And we need some movement in the division, and they're both clearly injury free and ready to go, so let's just fucking get that done. That one seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah,
there's enough name value from both of them. I think as the main event, that makes perfect sense. I am hearing that we're not going to get Grasso and Valentina. For some reason on Valentina's side, she is either looking for a later date or is not targeting that card for some reason or another. And I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, but that seems to be the rumors out there that we're not going to get Valentina. And I'm not really that bothered about it because, yeah, that's why. I mean, I that would have been another one I automatically put on the cards, but I haven't done so because it's not one that I really give a shit about anyway. I think Ortega's debut at 155 is looking kind of inevitable now. Like, he's got like a really weird long body type. He's in a very awkward position in featherweight. He's probably not going to go back to 145. So I've kind of gone a little bit of a swerve on this one. And I reckon they should match him up with Charles Oliveira. Yeah.
Now that's a fight right there.
That's a fight. That's a fight.
I actually tried to get Charles on this card too. I actually tried to get him on here.
I've got a few reasons for kind of going in this direction. Obviously, with Ortega, he's the Mexican heritage, and you do need to book him against a big name to make it worthwhile. Olive should probably really be fighting Gamrot, but I don't think that's a big enough fight for me. And let's be honest, Colby's messing around, and from what we've heard, he's already being touted, if not confirmed yet, again as the backup for Edwards and Bilal.
Why?
So he's going to get another payday and cashing in another Masvidal, dropping the charges chitty, it looks like.
Ah, I see.
I'm assuming that's what the deal was, because nothing else about that makes sense. I've also included Diego Lopez. We've seen that he's back in camp, which is a very big teller, and is obviously one of the biggest stars in that region. So I want to see him either fight Josh Emmett or Yair. Probably the former. Emmett's ranked number 7, and there's no way on earth that fight isn't a barn burner if you put those two together. I think it's very dangerous. Rankings wise, it makes sense, but I'd be happy with either Emmett or Yair. Now, I did kind of go against my inclinations, and I've decided to kind of throw a female fight on the card, assuming we don't get Shevchenko and Grasso. And I'm thinking we should take this opportunity to try and get Kayla on there. And I was thinking maybe match her up with Chasson. They probably should have done her and Aldana, but I think from what we've heard, Aldana's already booked to fight Ketlin Vieira, I think. So they've already kind of shit the bed on that one. So I think we should get Kayla another fight so that she's undeniable and ready to take on the winner of Pena and Pennington, which unfortunately is looking like it's probably going to be booked at some point.
Why?
I also dabbled with the idea of having Holloway, because he obviously called for the Sphere, but I think that might be a little bit too early, and there seems to be some issues of getting that signed off. It still could happen. I'd like to see him and Superior on, but if you get Sean and Merab, I don't want to have a situation where we've overstacked a card again and we've got nothing for. Yep. So it would kind of be an either-or situation. If we don't get Sean and Merab, Holloway and Superior would be a good one to replace it, or vice versa. because I think they're both main event worthy. I kind of dabbled with the idea of maybe putting Brendan Allen and Imavov to open the card, because I think, again, for where they both are in the division, it makes sense. And I think Brandon Allen would be less likely to get his I'm the main character syndrome if he was on the main card of the Sphere. He wouldn't be expecting to main event a card like that unless he's totally lost his fucking mind. I feel like with this one though, man, looking at how far away it is, the way that Dana's hyped it up and the amount of money that they spent on it, you need ranked fighters throughout the entire main card. You can't have a non-ranked, even an exciting fighter on this main card. And looking at the way things have stacked up and who's available, and man, it's going to be rough, man. They might be calling Alex Pereira again, the way things are looking, you know.
Yeah, I feel like they have to do two title fights. They're going to have to do 2 title fights in order to make this interesting. You know, you got the Riyadh season thing attached to it, so they've pumped in money to it as well. Which that whole thing is kind of weird. Like, we got
so bizarre.
An event, UFC NOCHE. We got UFC NOCHE, which is celebrating Mexican Independence Day, but it's sponsored by a Saudi entity. It's kind of weird, but whatever. But that being said, I know that the Sphere is costing a lot of money. I think Dana said that he put $13 million into it. You know, so obviously it costs more than that. They got to blow it out of the water some sort of way. And it has to me, it has to have 2 title fights for sure. Absolutely. And it has to have a major attendance and an active attendance from people. That's why I think adding so many Mexican stars, and I say stars, like not necessarily stars in a grand scheme of things, but stars in the fact that they have people that travel and that will make noise in that arena.
Yeah,
you know, kind of the same way that Meatball Molly is a star. You know, when her and Patty are on a card, is she a star holistically? No, but does she bring a crowd when her and Patty on the card? Absolutely, they are loud and obnoxious, and that's what they need in the Sphere. So that's why, you know, somebody like a Raul Rosas Jr. Made sense for me to throw on the card. You know, somebody like a Yair, you know, and you mentioned him too, is a person that would be dope to throw on the card because of all that they bring with it. And you add on the exponential part of it, of it being on Mexican Independence Day, being in Las Vegas, which also has a high Mexican population. You add all those things in together, like you kind of can't go wrong. But they have to have 2 championship fights on there in order to be successful, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's either got to be 2 championship fights, or they could maybe sell it with like a really stacked card where you've got like title eliminators and whatnot. And if it turned out to be Superior and Max that were headlining the card, because you could build that as a title versus title situation.
You could,
stupid as it is.
100%, you could, because that makes it historical.
It does. Because even though we've had champions fighting champions, and we've never had 2 technically belts on the line at the same time, and it's the only way they could obviously feasibly pull that off. So it is like there's options, but like I said, it seems to me like they got to get their fucking thumbs out of their bum holes and do something sooner rather than later, because we are entering that territory now where it's like it's concerning that we haven't heard anything yet.
Outside of one, and that's the Michelle Pajeda against Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. That one is on that card.
Yeah, I forgot that was on that card. That's a great fight.
Yeah, and then Aldana's fighting Dumont on that card. So like,
oh, is it Aldana and Dumont? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they announced a couple.
I mean, I wouldn't cry if Fluffy and Pereira were on the main card.
I wouldn't either. Like, especially a main card opener. Like, that's a great main card opener.
It's a great mind card opener, yeah. Hopefully they don't drop the ball on this one, but I have reason to be skeptical. I'm gonna put it that way.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're wrong about that. But as I said in the comments, what fights do you want to see on this card? Is there some that we may have missed out on? I'm sure there must have been, because there's so many options. But I think certainly looking at where the rankings are and who's available and how things line up, these seem to be the most realistic to me, and I think you had a very similar feeling going into it.
Absolutely.